Hello guys, welcome to Major's Garage. This is Suellio. I'm the crew chief for Formula 1, Formula 3 and Formula 3.5 cars here at Major's Garage. We're gonna see my lap here at Silverstone with the Formula 3.5 today. So let's go straight to the first actual corner, let's say, because this one is quite easy to do. Just go flat out here for this T1 and 2. This car has a lot of downforce, so it just takes this line easily. All you need to do is to be close enough to those two squares here, and then the car will just do this corner very nicely. This second one needs a little bit of attention though, because you want to bring the car here and keep it on the left so you can actually prepare for the braking zone here. And this is a this is the hardest braking zone of the entire track, so it's really important that you prepare a very good straight line, so when you start braking you have the car going on a perfect straight line. This way you can see how I'm braking pretty hard here. For this season I changed the brake cylinder, made it a little bit larger so I could brake a little bit harder without locking that easily. This will probably make it easier for people who have lower end pedals. So here, as you can see on this corner with a very high speed, at a very high speed, I can actually brake pretty hard, and then of course almost immediately I am already releasing. So I punch the brakes quite quickly to 95%, let's say. You can actually go to 100% on this corner without locking, but sometimes, depending on the way you turn in, if you turn just a little bit to the right, or if you take the curb a little bit, it may end up locking the tires quite quickly, so it's slightly dangerous. So although you can go to 100%, be careful not to be too confident, because that will make you lock up the tires. So going here 95%, and then immediately releasing the brakes, still on a straight line, releasing the brakes, releasing the brakes, release the brakes, until I start turning. When I start turning, my brakes are already at around 50%, and then I'm still releasing them while turning, doing a very gentle, progressive brake release as I turn into the corner. And then I want to be pretty close to this sausage curb here. As you can see, I'm basically at the limit. A little bit more would be enough to hit the curb. I didn't hit the curb though, I think. Yeah, I didn't. And then ideally we want to get back on the throttle here at the apex, never after, at the apex, so we can carry a little bit of speed and gain a little bit of time in between those two corners, T3 and 4. So I'm going to 50%, and then I try to increase a little bit more as I see that I can put the traction without spinning the tires. But then immediately you have to already worry about the next corner. Also, you can see that I bring the car a little bit to the right here, but not too much, because too much would make it a little bit difficult, and you would have to do a longer path to turn to the second corner. So you maybe like 3/4 of the track to the right would be enough here. I brake, but not too much, and immediately release, because I'm already turning a little bit, so it's very easy to lock up the tires here if you brake too hard. Same thing, I want to get back on the throttle at the apex here. You can see that I actually delayed a little bit, so this was not an optimal exit. Ideally, we want to get back on the throttle at the end of this sausage curb here. My delay was probably 1 car, maybe 1.5 cars, and this may have costed me probably 0.5 or 1/10. So it is a considerable amount of time, but the lap overall was a pretty good race lap, safe lap, so that's why I recorded it. And then we want to get back on the throttle at 50% again, quite quickly to 50%, but then gradually increasing it back to 100. Let the car stay to the right here, so you can have a very gentle line for this left-hander here. Then for this corner, we want to brake at the 50. I even look at the next sign here instead of the 50, but I always end up braking exactly at the 50. I brake pretty hard here, but then I immediately start releasing, and I brake hard following the white line, So I don't want to turn and then brake. I want to brake while still facing the white line here, and then I start immediately releasing and turning. So my goal here is to put the car here. I want to really put the car over the second red square here. This is the entire goal. So whenever I start braking here, I'm already thinking way ahead, because that's the positioning that will make my car able to get back on power quite quickly and carry a lot of speed to the exit of this corner. As you can see, I'm starting to get back on the throttle, still on the green part. This is my objective here, so you can carry as much speed as possible to this transition between the left-hander and the right-hander. As you can see, I'm letting the car run wide here, which will theoretically have a tight entry for this corner. But because this corner is quite long, it's a very long corner, as you can see, you actually can consider it as a double apex. So you let the car run wide here, and then look at what happens. I will turn in, the car will run slightly wide, and then it will come back. You have the time to do that. So let's see that in the chase cam. I'm going accelerating, the car runs to the right, I stay here. This is the first apex, the car goes slightly wide, and then I go back, and this is the second apex. So for this corner, we can do it flat out. It's a little bit tight, not too difficult, but you need a little bit of attention. So you definitely need to use this entire curve here, so you can have this extra track width here for a better line, and you have to get the timing right. The thing is the timing here. So if you get the timing right, and also that doesn't mean that you turn very quickly. As you can see, my initial turn is just throwing the front, not throwing the front. I'm placing the front into the corner and not throwing it at once, like very quickly. I'm not doing that. I'm gently putting the car into the corner so that I don't overheat the front tires and understeer after that. So if you turn in gently, the car will actually have more grip on the front tires, because you're not going to abuse the front tires. And my goal here is to put the car very close to the, I would say, over this green area here, exactly where the red squares are. And then if you do that, you can actually go flat out. Now for Megads and Beckets, this is a very complicated section, and we definitely need to think about the entire corner as one thing, and because whatever you do here in the beginning will affect the other two corners, so it's very difficult, and you need to pay attention to the line from the beginning, from here. So what I want to do here, for example, is I want to be as close as possible to the end, the very end of this green area here. And you can see that I am actually thinking about like a late apex. I want to touch the green area at the end. I don't want to touch the beginning. Maybe I can even actually touch. Let me see if I do it. Yeah, I'm not. You can see this is the area that I'm avoiding, because I'm trying to touch the latter part of it here. And then look at what happens with my steering wheel. So I'm actually still turning to the right here. I'm not leaving the car run wide here to the left. I am actively bringing the car a lot to the right here, so I can prepare for a good turn in for the next one. This exit is going to be automatically the entry for the second one. And you can see that I'm trying to change direction quite aggressively from one side to the other, so I can have a little bit of precision where I want to put the car on the second one. And the second one is the same thing. We want to be touching the end of this green area here. Exactly what I'm doing. And then I'm still turning here, you can see, to the left for a better precision and line, not precision, a better entry line, wider line for the last corner. This is going to be the most important one because we're going to carry all that speed through the straights. So I'm churning a lot, and I'm already planning that my car will basically touch those 3 squares here. As you can see, I'm really touching all 3 squares here. Be careful not to touch the grass though. If you touch the grass, you're going to get a very, very bad slowdown. It's like 2.8 seconds, I think. So it's very, very punishing. Also, don't go full throttle too easily here. I want to go around 80%, and then because there are some bumps here on exit, so you see that I'm really controlling the throttle until I feel okay. After the bumps, it's safe, the car has settled, then I can go full throttle. Then for this next corner, we want to be as parallel as possible to this white line. It's so easy to be facing a little bit too much to the left when we're braking because the track itself already starts turning to the right before. So be careful not to be facing towards the outside. Be parallel to the white line, brake just a little bit, and then carry a very tiny amount of brakes into the corner, so just you can load the front tires, and also be very, very gentle with the steering input. Don't try to turn too much on entry because this is quite a late apex. So you're gonna have to be patient, and keep turning, keep turning, keep turning, keep turning until you see those 3 squares here. These 3 squares are what I use as a throttle application checkpoint because we're still not clearly seeing the exit of the corner. So I use this, I get back on the throttle, and then I'm pretty sure that the car is going to finish the corner well if I'm doing the right entry and saving the front tires by not turning too aggressively on entry. So it's very important that we don't turn too aggressively. As you can see, I'm really, really gentle here. And then for the last chicane here, my braking reference is the beginning of the curb. I brake quite hard, but it's kind of dangerous here because there's a bump. So I brake hard but immediately release, and then I kind of maintain a little bit on the 70% zone, and then when I start turning, I release the brakes normally. But yeah, I think it's very dangerous because there's always this little bump here. So if you brake 100% here, you're probably going to lock up. So be careful with that. And also be very sure that you're braking on a very straight line. So before you turn, and you want to touch this curve. On this lap specifically, I lost a little bit because I was a little bit too quick on entry. So I went a little bit wide here. Ideally, we want to be more towards the middle of the track for a better change of direction, but I got away with it. I was able to change direction here, be very close to this curb, and still carry a lot of speed, so I didn't lose a lot of time here. And then the exit, it's very important that you bring the car all the way to this red sausage curb here. You want to be very close here over the curb, because you're going to need that line for a full application here. And yeah, that's it. I hope this helped you guys, and see you next week. Bye.